Hey, welcome back to Just the Stock Charts, where we analyze and basically find swing trades, because I am a swing trader and I trade stocks and options. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to take a look at the QQQ. Then we're going to go ahead and take a look at 6 different stocks that I'm looking at right now, mainly tech, to ride out this reversal that we could possibly have in the QQQ or the Nasdaq and see if the correction is over. First, what we're looking at here is I always like to take a look at the week and the weekly candles. We can see that there's 3 major pullbacks and then this green candle here, which is pretty important. But if we take a look at the lower time frames down here, we can see that we have basically lower highs, kind of similar to what we have here. But the reason why I think this spot is pretty critical and really important is if we take a look, this spot that we're looking at here on the weekly, it's around that 297 area, which has a lot of support. Again, that 297, 300 area is more of a psychological trading area, so that's why it's pretty critically important. Now, 2 things that will make me even more bullish, because I'm cautiously optimistic here. So we have our support and then we have our higher support, or it could be called a double bottom here. Now what I'd like to see is 2 scenarios to make me bullish. The first scenario, a break above this trend line, and we'll get to why I drew that trend line here. A test on this and a move higher and a break above this previous high. That's the first scenario. That's the first obvious traditional textbook style. The next one is I'd like to see a drop, but a drop that is still higher than the last low, which is this area. Once we get that and we start moving forward, we have a cup and handle pattern. A break above this should cause a violent, fast move above this trend line, which would signal that more than likely, I would say 80 to 90% that we are done with the bear phase and we're coming back to the overall trend. The reason why I'm bullish on the overall trend is that we take a look at these critical points on the weekly, and we can see it a lot more exaggerated on the 4-hour, which we'll get to here soon. We can see that it's always been forming higher lows. And by definition, that's a trend. So let's go ahead and switch over to the 4-hour. So up above here, this is where we have the 4-hour. The reason why I drew the lines here is because I'm connecting these higher highs. So we're not out of the woods yet, and we can still see some bearish movement because it's now going to have to test this area around the 215 or around the 315 area. Now we test that and we go lower and we break this, we're going to continue that trend. But again, we saw that 297 being supported on the weekly charts. At the same time, the 4-hour on these critical correction areas in the past, we can see that it's ultimately making higher highs. Now, if this, again, breaks above this, we're going to get our major correction area or next highest low because it's higher than this area here. So it's continuing that trend. So overall, though, keep an eye out on this ETF. This is going to be the first thing that's going to tell you, is tech ready to buy? Either a cup and handle that moves above this, or a move above this trend, a test of it, and then a move. In these areas here, either a break above this or a catch of this pullback are the 2 signals that we're going to be bullish on. If it can't break above this trend line, that's another bear scenario that we can keep going lower. Again, probability says we probably won't break past that 297, but it's the market. It's pretty volatile right now, and you never really know. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these 6 different stocks that I'm looking at. First one is going to be Micron. So this one hasn't had such a terrible time with the tech sell-off compared to most stocks. All right, I'll show you what I'm seeing here. I'll draw what I'm seeing. I always take a look at the weekly charts. So first thing we're going to notice is every time there's a red candle, to me, that means there's a swing opportunity possibly here, especially if it's going on an uptrend. Okay, so first thing, make sure it's on an uptrend, make sure that the candle is red. That's a pullback. It's going the opposite way of the trend, so that's the first signal. So let's take a look at this on a lower time frame. Second thing that we want to take a look at is that, or these 2, this one right here is higher than its last one. That could signal a reversal. Again, depending if the market holds up or not, this could be a good textbook one here for us to take a look at. The only thing that concerns me with this one, if we take a look at the 4-hour chart, which shows good signs, right? These correction areas for the stock is progressively higher. right? And we have this double bottom pattern here. Let's go get rid of that. Now what I'm seeing here is that we have a possible head, shoulder, head, and possibly a shoulder here. So depending on how the market does overall, how the tech sector does, and especially how the semiconductor sector does, we either may continue this upside. If not, the other bearish scenario is that we complete this other shoulder. If we get a break below this, we could possibly go as low as this area here or this last area here. So keep that in mind. For now, I'm pretty bullish with this, especially with the 30-minute chart here being pretty strong, showing higher highs. And the pattern is still holding with the critical correction areas or critical support areas. Now, remember, if it breaks below these, bearish, but it can continue. But as of right now, still bullish on this one. The next one of the growth stocks that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Fiverr. So when we're taking a look at this, I'm liking this weak candle. I'm liking the weekly candles where there's these significant drops or the overcorrection. That's what I really like. Now, kind of the same thing here, but the only thing that we don't see is that we don't see a higher high. But what I would really like to see, at least on the 30-minute chart, is a pullback to fill this gap or pretty darn close to it, and then a move back up. Any one of those where it breaks, perhaps goes up, comes back down and breaks and gives us a higher high, that could signify that it's ready to come back in the overall trend. Now let's really take a look at the critical support areas here by switching over to the 4-hour chart. We're taking a look at the 4-hour chart. These areas here that I'm circling, as always, are going to be the major correction areas. And right here, it fell right to the area of the last critical support without breaking below it. That's super important. Now right here could signify another accumulation stage. Now if this comes down again, forms that low and takes off, that is what we like to see. All right, so the next one is a little bit riskier than most of the ones that I look for, and it's going to be Palantir stock. So taking a look on the weekly, there's some strong, heavy support here. If this holds up, as long as this area holds up, then I am going to be bullish. Now, if it breaks below this, that's when I'm going to be out of this stock and seeing what it's doing. I'm going to become a little bit more bearish on this one. Every time the weekly pulls back, and we get this green candle, that's when we want to say, hey, is this going to be a swinging opportunity for us? So let's go to the 4-hour first. Okay, when we swing over to the 4-hour chart, we can see that area a lot better. If it goes below this area and closes, that's the most important part, then we become bearish. But again, we can see that we attempted to go below that area, but there was a lot more buyers than anything else. And it brought the price back to exactly where it is now. And again, we can see it. Critical support area, critical support area, critical support area. And this is going to be the same exact setup every time when we swing to the 30 minutes. Lower low here, lower high here. This is the first sign that we can make a breakout out of this. Now, if we break out of this area here, then this stock can make a lot higher highs. To profit target on this one is going to be around 33, 34. That's going to be when I take probably the first half of the position, and then I'm gonna let the rest roll. Again, I'm pretty excited about this one. There seems to be a lot more upside than downside, and I love that these patterns here are coiling up. And this usually means that they're in their accumulation phase. The longer it's in this, the stronger the move up the stock will experience. So keep this one on your radar. Okay, the next one we're gonna take a look at is gonna be a blue chip one here. It's gonna be Microsoft. So Microsoft, again, this is what I always like to look at, is critical support areas. Where are they? Have they been broken? And I'll show you what happens when they are broken. All right, these are the critical support areas. We can see these are the major buy zones, and it's starting to form another one right here. So even before then, in this accumulation stage, we want to see if we can start a position and find any breakouts in the lower time frames. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Now, I wanted to show you what happens when it breaks their critical support area. So let's go switch over to a similar stock, which is Apple. So you can see a couple notes that I made here, trying to start a position. Got out real quick before the market turned is what happened. So critical support, critical support, critical support. and then a critical support here. As soon as it broke, we became bearish, right? But let's go ahead and compare this chart with Microsoft. So when we flip back over to Microsoft, we can see that there are critical supports, critical support, a breakout, which we'll see on the weekly that it's holding up, but it never broke past its last critical support. This is why I think Microsoft is the better choice right now. Now, during this accumulation phase, what are we always looking for? Just like all the other ones, we're looking for higher lows. So we have low here, and then finally a higher low on this day. Now I hate this gap here because I'll show you there's this gap here. Usually with a move like this and a gap, the market tries to fill this before taking off. But that could present another opportunity to buy in here or buy in this area somewhere before it takes off. Again, if we're taking a look, let's go ahead and clear this and switch it over to the weekly charts. We are looking for, there's that green candle after those weeks, 3 weeks of down. This could essentially be a strong trade. Now, the only thing that I don't like here is this indicator is called the AO. As this indicator is lower while price is rising, this means that the momentum is slowing. Money could possibly be leaving the stock. But besides that, overall, the week is still in this major uptrend. It just broke out due to good earnings, and it's now testing that support area. Now, if this holds, this could essentially make higher highs, and that's really good to see. So aside from this here, momentum slowing down, overall, this test is a textbook style for a breakout. So take a look at Microsoft. So this last one's one of my favorites. There's a couple things that concerns me. But again, we're taking a look on the weekly chart, which is above here. We're taking a look at these red candles, and we're asking ourselves, is there a swing opportunity in here that we can get into? Well, in order to do that, we want to take a look at the critical points or the critical correction areas. Switching over to the 4-hour chart, we can see that the critical correction areas here, in here, and over here. And what we notice here is in this area, the candles are trying to test this last critical correction area, and it's below that area, which is a dangerous sign. Now, overall, this stock, fundamentally, I know this is just about the charts, but fundamentally, this stock is really good. It hits all the metrics that I look for. Return on investments, return on equities, cash flows, revenues, everything. This company is growing, is doing really well. The management team is great. But in the short term, because we're swing traders, it's trying to test this critical support area. And in the past, the high probability says if it closes below and can't get above that, then we are bearish with this stock. Now, here's the bullish scenario. Let's redraw that line. Now, in the next couple of weeks to a month, if we can get a close above this and then a pullback, right, on the smaller time frame and move back up above this, and we get a breakout, I'm going to be more bullish on this stock. This stock is amazing, and it's going to be on my radar. Now, it could not happen. It could continue falling, break this, which would be breaking this lower low, and we have a bearish pattern here. And it could go to this next support, and this support area here for the last accumulation stage. If it doesn't close above here in the next couple of weeks. But if you're looking at this one and you want to get into this one, I would say a break above the, let's say 172 above, coming back down, and it launches up again. That's what we're looking for to be bullish. In that case, on the 30 minutes, what it would look like is like rise above this, pull back possibly to around here, and then a move back up. That's when we become more bullish on this. Now, we don't want to guess, right, the bottom. We just want to follow the trend, and when the money's coming back in, we'll pay a little bit of a premium to enter in later to follow and ride that momentum. Those are the main ones that we're looking for. The last one, or the sixth one, we covered it in the beginning, is going to be the QQQ. Make sure that this goes above that 315. 314 area, bounces off that trend line and moves forward, breaking any kind of resistance, right, that it's going to make in the future. That's how we know that trend is going to reverse. These plays here that we were talking about, all those tech ones, are dependent on this QQQ doing well in the short to intermediate term, which is in the next couple of weeks, which coincides with the news of the stimulus and everything. So we'll see in the long run, or long run meaning the next couple weeks to month for a swing trader, how this is all going to play out. But peace out, guys. See you in the next video. Remember to hit that like and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Peace out.